All right. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Moonhawk Studios Presents. I'm your host, Mac Paladin, and we were hoping to have a guest this week, but unfortunately, that did not work out. With me in the studio, as always, is my good friend Adam.
I sent 3 messages, 3 different places, and never got an answer there. So,
Done your due diligence. There's nothing that can be done.
Yep.
Kevin's in the house.
Yep, and we got ghosted. It was only a matter of time before that happened this season.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Not the first time it's happened. Not the last time.
No.
I mean, I
Petty
wish.
fan on. Go ahead. Sorry.
I wish it would be the last time, but you know.
Stuff just doesn't work out. Petty fans on technicals.
Totally not hiding out on the abandoned vehicle just off the side of your property.
I have a howitzer in my backyard.
I have stuff to talk about in news.
Okay. And, of course, we got the Galax.
Hi.
Well, the rumors of my demise were only slightly exaggerated, so before we get into that, Adam, let's start the news.
Let's see. News. I guess the biggest thing that, well, not so much I had to deal with, but that happened is my brother had to head out to Iowa during the weekend to pick up some stuff that he's been meaning to do for 4 years. I mean, he did it. Like 3,000 miles in a weekend. Like,
wow,
give or take. So, good for him, I guess. I guess personal news: nursing a bit of a swollen foot right now. Don't think it's diabetes related. I think it's more I bumped something and it got a bit swollen.
I guess kind of tangentially because probably bumped something, didn't really hurt yourself on something.
Yeah. Point is, it's been the swelling's been going down and the redness has been going away. So, I think that's about all I got this week.
All right,
Kevin.
Well, tomorrow, at the AMC, I'm going to begin a string of 5 straight days of work because of, a certain R-rated superhero movie that's going to put me on the spot. Simply because of the hard R attached.
Different kind of hard R.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, yeah.
It's a little.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a dubious.
Hard R rating. Yeah. Yeah, hard R rating. That's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant. But yeah, it's gonna put me on the spot, put everybody on the spot, put us on our toes because there's gonna be a lot of people under the age of 17 that are gonna try to get in.
Yep.
And it's our goal to make sure that that's not the case, and also to make sure that children under 6 do not get in after 6 o'clock at night. So.
Oh, you have that stipulation there.
Yep, no 6 under 6. Yep. So. Yeah, it's going to be a very, very, very fun couple of weeks around here.
Good luck dealing with the Karens.
Yeah, well, you get what you get. So, yeah, that's going to be fun, and that's going to be make my next couple of weeks very busy. And with that, that's pretty much all I got on my plate. So, Petty, what's going on in your world?
Well, still trying to help Mom find a job. That's fun.
Fun?
Yeah. And then yesterday, apparently around 6-ish in the morning, or sometime before then, somebody just kind of left their car on just off our property near our garage. It's technically not on our property, but it's close enough that it's a problem.
Hmm.
Apparently my dad saw it when he left for work around 6. I did some, spraying some weed killer on some problem weeds, and I saw it, was like, huh, that shouldn't be there. But we live just down the street from a gas station. So I'm like, oh, they probably just ran out of gas, walked down to the gas station. They'll deal with it soon. So I finished spraying the yard, and it was a little over an hour later, and was like, hey, is that car still there? Went up to the front of the house, like, yeah, it's still there. So called the cops because, I have no idea if it was, stolen vehicle or, why there was a car just left near our property. So cops got here. Basically, they couldn't get a hold of the owners. The plates are still valid and stuff like that. They just couldn't get a hold of the owners. So hopefully there's no foul play involved there, but not my problem kind of thing. Yeah, they got it marked for tow. If it's not gone by tomorrow at around 6 p.m., I just call the non-emergency line and I'll send somebody to take care of it. Because they're basically giving them 48 hours to come get their shit, the owners.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's gone before then, just call the police office and be like, hey, yeah, this car is gone. Don't know if the owner grabbed it or if you guys pulled it away, but if it's still an open tag, you can close it basically. And as me and the police officer were talking, I don't know if I've mentioned the condemned house on the corner. We were chatting and be like, yeah, it's because the property where the vehicle was dumped is technically on the condemned house's property. So I'm like, yeah, apparently there are people who keep going in there even though it's condemned. And the officer was like, oh, I know about that house. Nobody should be going in or out of there. If you see him again, call the cops. Like, good to know. you know? So that's something we're going to be keeping an eye on. Because apparently, from what we've heard, that place was a puppy mill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're thinking that's probably why it was condemned, and there should be zero reason any people should be going in or out of there. So, yeah, as far as like lighter stuff, I went to the Digimon tournament, the Kansas, I guess, Digimon regionals, and got 40th out of 64. So, yay, not last. It was kind of fun because it was my first big tournament. So I'd like to do it again if the opportunity arises. But I guess it really depends on, if Bandai wants to put another Star Regionals in the area, or if I get a big enough desk, I can do one of the online tournaments. But yeah, I guess that's it from me. So next victim.
Alex?
Relatively uneventful here. It's been getting it was really nice for a few days, but now it's getting cloudy and wet again, but at least it isn't super hot, so that's good. This past weekend was the Yarmouth Clam Festival, which is a town fundraiser festival thing. They have music and foods, and then there's a carnival in town and stuff, so I only really went on one day, but I got to hang out with all my friends, and they had a pop culture trivia contest, and we won. And unfortunately, I can't take credit for most of that. One of my friends was there, was much better at pop culture trivia than me, but I helped some. Other than that, pretty low key, I think. So, I guess that's all I really have to say.
Right. Well, as y'all know, I'm reconstructing things to try to get back to streaming full time.
Mhm.
Where I have now installed the power supply and tested the art machine for functionality. Now I just need to download the Windows 11 flash drive and do the processor incompatibility override.
Yes.
And try to restore it, because what I did was I downloaded a program that allowed me to convert the boot files from the partition from MBR, master boot record, to GPT, which is the format required for Windows 11, and it caused the bootstrap to stop working.
Oh, the full-on
you've got-
BIOS bootstrap died?
Well, no, just the bootloader.exe.
Oh, just like the regular Windows bootloader. I was about to be like, holy shit, bro, how the hell did you manage to kill the whole bootstrap?
Well, there are situations to where Windows 11 has killed people's BIOSes.
I'm aware. That's why I was, holy shit, what did you do?
Mm-hmm. So that was exciting. And because I had everything set up and working just fine with it has an i7 7700, 16 gigs of RAM and 500 gig M2 drive. And
yeah, it's one of those, if Windows didn't need that stupid TPM bullshit, you could run it just fine.
Yeah, so every Asus motherboard since 2015 has TPM 2.0. But for some reason, there are some processors that don't do as good of a job with virtualization. So they have some processors in the 5 series. They have some in the 5th generation, some processors in the 6th generation, and some processors in the 7th generation that do run Windows 11, but not all of them. And the 7700 is one step down from what is compatible. There's the 7th generation processor that does work is 7800, and I can't really find that big of a difference between the two processors. Other than I think the 7800 is hex core and 8 core,
and probably a difference in cache or something like that.
Yeah, and the 7700 is either, I can't remember if it's quad core or if it's hex core or what, but either way, whatever it is, for whatever reason, they just decided arbitrarily that the 7700 isn't officially supported. You can make it work, but you have to do this thing where you use the flash drive to bypass the processor check. And since I've already changed the format of the drive to B, I may as well go all the way with it, regardless of the potential risks.
All that cryptographic stuff you can't do with that without that TPU module, right?
As long as it has TPM 2.0, which has been standard on all Asus motherboards, TPM is not built into the processor, built into the motherboard.
Right, yeah.
So as long as you have like the i5 6500K that I have, 6500 that I have, the Skylake one that I was using as a art machine, the Asus Strix Republic of Gaming motherboard that I had in that machine, it turns out it does work, and I shoved it into another box, and I'm probably going to run. I'm not sure if I'm going to run Ubuntu or Linux Mint on it yet. I haven't decided, but I'm going to use that as a sort of
run Arch Linux, you coward.
Huh?
Arch Linux.
I haven't really looked into other distributions.
Yeah, it's Linux. It's fine.
I mean,
It's a
I have
joke.
UA.
Maybe like 1 or 2 people will get it.
I have a LTS version of UA Linux, which was supposed to come with this like gamer package that allowed you to download BattleNet and everything and run Overwatch 2 and it doesn't recognize my graphics card as being an NVIDIA graphics card.
Oh yeah,
Even though
NVIDIA and Linux are not very happy.
Yeah. So even though it clearly has an NVIDIA driver installed and I downloaded the official Linux driver for NVIDIA, it still doesn't recognize my GTX 780 graphics card as being compatible, even though it works just fine under Windows. Playing Honkai Star Rail and Overwatch 2 and Paladins just fine with that graphics card. I don't know. I have another 7700K that I replaced. I basically took the hard drives out of I have this old FX8 8320 Black Edition. AMD's first serious 8-core processor that I bought back in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been using that all along. I have this cool Thermaltake AMD case that has like a scorpion on the side of it, and the front orange, and it has the AMD badge.
Right.
And I've got a Thermaltake power supply in it and all that stuff. I haven't thoroughly decommissioned that machine yet. I put a lot of money into reviving it after the whole fiasco trying to get Nathan to build me a system. It took him like 6 months to come out here and bring it to me, and then it was lesser spec than I asked for. We had a little row about that, but then he gave me all the, then he gave me all this stuff. So, so now I have two 7700Ks, and I've got a 10th generation motherboard that I'm going to probably get an i9 for. 10900K, I think, is the processor I was eyeballing on eBay. That will probably become the center of my operation.
Fun.
Yeah, and I've got lines on like cheap, high grade power supplies from surplus stores, as well as cases, real nice cases. The 7700. Just trying to find out all that's broken and what's working. One thing I have gotten set up is I have the pass-through set up so I can actually play my Xbox One that I just got. Cost. So I've got a couple of Xbox One games I got for free. I got the Xbox One version of Fallout 76. I have Dead Rising 3. I have Valen Wonderworld, which, don't worry, Adam, I only paid $5 for it used.
$5 more than you should have paid.
I'm not hearing great things, but it could be it could be entertaining for Kitsch Factor. It's Square Enix, and that's about the only good thing about it. From what I'm reading. But I'm just trying to find stuff that is in my wheelhouse for the Xbox One, which the main reason I didn't buy this system in the first place, pay full price for it, is that not exactly an RPG.
Right.
There's a lot of classic stuff where I can acquire and download Xbox 360 stuff for it. But I have two Xbox 360s, so why bother?
It depends. The 360 versions are actually remastered, so they'll take better use of high resolutions like 1080 instead of faking it like they are on the 360 itself. And they also have uncapped frame rates.
So, I mean, there is that. But, it's not like I acquired a Series X or Series S.
Yeah. I mean, you can still do it with the Xbox One. You're just obviously not going to get as high as if you run them through the Series X.
Obviously, there's no 4K options on this box. So.
Yeah.
But it kind of nudges me into that generation of consoles.
Yeah, because you can most Series S and X games are still playable on the One.
Yeah, I'm noticing that because I'm seeing the hybrid labels on the boxes. Like Balin Wonderworld does say Xbox Series X and Xbox One. I
Right.
installed it. We'll give it a try.
Typically,
I'm just looking
the discs have the Xbox One version on them. Putting the discs in will cause it to download the updated patches for like S and X. Well, specifically X, because the S doesn't have a disk drive.
So yeah, I got all my monitor mounts set up here. I have a 22-inch monitor hooked up to the pass-through on my NZXT 4K 30, which is a pretty decent external capture box. And I've got it. I kept getting.
Just got an update from the guest. He's wondering if he still can join us.
Sure.
Lucky for him, we were still talking about news.
Yep.
Eh.
Oh, but I wanted to talk politics this week.
We'll still have a latter half. I know exactly what we're talking about anyway.
Yeah, we still
Bro,
got
do
the
you
last
think we
part
could
of the
really
show.
escape it? I mean,
No. We have to at least close this chapter. This singular particular chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually setting up the. I'm actually setting up the bedroom. I have this i5 4570 processor machine that I got it as an i3 4th generation for $9 at one of the thrift stores, and I made some customizations to it, and it has a bunch of stuff. That's the one I was doing this podcast through. And I've kind of set it up so that I have a chair in the middle of the bedroom, and the computer is now hooked up to the TV instead of as part of my desk arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hooked up to the TV. I've got my PlayStation TV controller there, and that's hooked up to the.
Like the basically the Vita box thing. I was like, wait a second, did you actually drop like $2,000 on the TV with a PlayStation built in it?
Oh no. They have one of those over at Bookman's right now, and I was like, hard pass.
Yeah. You thought about it for like a femtosecond?
Yeah, pretty much. Thought about it, dismissed it as quickly as the thought entered my mind. It fell out the ear and landed on the floor with a resounding thud. Oh good, you did update the show.
Yep.
But yeah, you can join us. But yeah, so I'm kind of setting it up. So I've got my DX Racer chair, and I've got a little end table, and I've got a footstool. And the 50-inch Sony
update on the abandoned vehicle. It is now gone.
Oh, hey, cool.
Weird. I will call the cops in the morning and let them know it's gone.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Guess not so abandoned.
Yeah, or the cops picked it up early. I don't know. Not my fucking problem.
But yeah, since I cleared out that other room, I'm doing a more open floor plan option. I have the gaming machine that Nathan built me that I rebuilt with a Ryzen 5 and dual GTX 760 for the Win editions. I have the twin for this LG Ultra Gamer Series monitor and my 32-inch wide boy all hooked up in there. And I don't know. I'm just kind of reorganizing stuff. Like I guess I'm going to move the anime figures out of that room and all the other end. Set up like this set of decorative wall shelves on the other wall, and the whole concept of having a dedicated streaming room has really gone out the window. Now I've basically engaged in ADHD flight of fancy,
That's a mood.
and I am just kind of letting the winds dictate which station does what. So like I've got dual monitors here. I've got a 27 HP workstation monitor. I've got the 27 Ultra Gamer Series monitor that has a stand. They're sitting side by side. There's a TV mounted on the wall here that is hooked up to my retro gaming box. It has like tons of emulators, as well as a multitude of different generations of USB controllers. Then I got the Mac Mini hooked up over here to my left, which Nathan gave me a really nice dual monitor mount, which is literally clamped.
Which gen of the Mac Mini?
It's a mid 2011 i5. I actually have a M2 based one bookmarked on eBay for about $390.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the M3s out.
Why would you want one though?
Right. I mean, for $399, that seems like a pretty good deal. It's got a 256 gig M2 drive, 16 gigs of RAM. It's going to be a nightmare trying to time machine my stuff over to it, which is why this machine is going to stay in service until it dies. Yeah. Because I have all my iMovie and my Photoshop CS5 license on it. Like anytime I need to whip together a PDF for drive-through, I just like the interface for Adobe Bridge CS5.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried CS6 and later, and it just annoys me. I don't know why, it just does. So, and I'm sure the newer version of iMovie has even more. You know, for now, I'll keep High Sierra because it's the last version that works. It's 5, the one of the versions I have a legal license for, and what doesn't require a monthly subscription. And Adobe can eat my ass if they think that they're going to try to sue me for stuff that
We've already discussed that Adobe can eat all of our whole asses.
Yeah, it's like, here, I will bust out my licensed copy of Adobe Photoshop Elements 4.0 with Premiere Elements 2.0. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will put that on my Windows XP Pentium 4, and you can eat a whole bunch of ass. Yeah. I've got my Core 2 Duo Fujitsu laptop running Photoshop Elements 7. Along with Krita and Manga Studio Debut 4.0, and it doesn't hook up to the internet, and I plug it in via my dock to my HDMI capture so I can stream artwork on Kick. Using my souped up Ryzen 7 with 64 gigs of RAM and an RTX 3060 Ti. I've actually been talking to Alina and Atman about when I get the VTubing machine back up and running, doing some Overwatch 2 over on Up Late with Mace. From like 9 to midnight if they can stand it. And I'll be doing Honkai Star Rail on Thursdays when that's all up and running again. So. And then as far as like artwork, I'm just going to forego the trying to stay within Twitch terms of service because they're quite mercurial and they like to waste our time telling us that things are allowed and then banning us anyway.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Because it's all controlled by degenerative AI, and then human review comes like weeks later.
By the time you've lost, any hope of getting any revenue out of it.
Yeah, or viewers. You lose like 2/3 of your fucking viewers while you're banned.
Mhm. And
So-
also, while you're banned, any Twitch subs don't renew, so there's that revenue out the window too.
Yep. So yeah, it's real exciting stuff. I'm just piecing this all back together. It's like I said, I'm sweeping up the dirt and dead bugs and things that floated into my apartment.
Hoping you don't get any black mold in your lungs.
Yeah. Well, I was starting to get my chronic cough back, and then all of a sudden it stopped. So either I'm already dead, or I killed whatever was bothering me. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. Like there was actually a hole in the wall in this bedroom on the floor that goes out to the pipe that connects to the water main. Like the stucco on the outside was cracked, and you could see light through the baseboard when they tore this room apart. And then they had to dig under that wall anyway to get to put in the replacement pipe when the geniuses at the concrete company poured the concrete on top of the chunks of broken concrete that they threw directly onto the slightly shaky copper pipe that was in the ground.
Fine.
Yeah. So, like, I shoved in plastic bags and then filled in the outside of the hole with dirt, and then I put a piece of plywood over it, and it's braced with bricks, cinder blocks. It's not going anywhere. I am not going to get another fucking flood from that avenue. And I actually now have a permanent plastic bag shoved in the corner of the back door where the floodwaters initially came in. So I've created a sort of plastic, a non-permanent plastic seal for the back door that should keep it from leaking again if the floodwaters rise up to the 1 foot level. It's fucking ridiculous. So the circulating pump for the sewer, because we're in the ground, so we have a pump, and that sits in a little fenced-off area next to the laundry room, 6 feet above our backyards at the end of the building. So it flooded 105, and then it flooded 106, and then 107, and then 108, and then my yard, and then 110, which is empty. That started this whole goddamn third fiasco. Because the pump apparently was electrical. They do not have a gas generator hooked up to it, or a diesel generator or something to keep the damn thing running in case we get another fucking flood that knocks out the power.
Sounds like something that could be important on a fucking
Oh,
pump.
we're in the mountain desert. It never floods here. What the fuck are you talking about? We're in a bowl.
Yeah.
We're in the bowl at the top of a mountain that gets snow. What are you talking about? It never floods.
That snow melts, and where's that water goes?
Right. Are you crazy? Welcome to Tucson. Apparently, even the extroverts are morons. So yeah, so that's what I've been dealing with the entire year. 7 months of this. Luckily, the power supply replacement for both my art machine and my gaming machine was $5 a piece. I got lucky. I went to one of those. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with those detox clinics like Cope. They're nationwide, and they have a e-recycling store down on the south side called Evolve, and they sell affordable electronics to people trying to get back on their feet. And I used to recommend people go down there for recycling and replacement parts for obscure stuff all the time. And if failing that, I can always go to the surplus room down at Elliott's, a block to south on 23rd Street. So 23rd and Tyndall. So, I'm pretty much set. I got everything I needed. I didn't have to invoke insurance. I just pray that my PS4 and my Xbox 360 that were apparently waterlogged foolishly had them sitting on the floor after the last flood. Haven't tried the PlayStation 4 yet. Pretty sure one of my PlayStation 3s is damaged because it was sitting in a puddle and it was boot cycling like this. Beep, beep, beep.
Oof.
So yeah, I'm not terribly excited about that. That was the one I paid a lot of money to have fixed and modified.
Oh, our guest has arrived.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Hi,
well,
everybody.
All right, so I'll wrap this up real quick, and then we'll get to the main event here. So I'm just all my decorations and my lights and stuff. I finally finished a round of farmland and got my free gifts from Temu. I think I think you have to water the plants 100,000 times or
Probably.
10,000 times or something absurd like that. Because once you get to 99%, you start doing 0.01% every time you water it.
Yep.
So for it's 10 waterings for every 1%. For every 1/10 of a percent, for every 1%, it's 100 waterings, and it's a nightmare. So yeah, but I don't know. I've just been lucky with thrifting and all that stuff, like a bunch of HP station monitors. So without too much further ado, it looks like we have Carlos. How do you say your last name?
Oh, my last name is Faras.
Okay, there it is. Okay. So we have Carlos Faras of Wicked Comics on the program. Welcome. We're glad to finally have you.
No, great. Thanks. Thank you so much for reaching out. I'm sorry about the whole mess. I haven't really messed too much with Discord, but I learned a little bit with you. How to manage it a little bit.
Excellent. All right. Let me give you the rundown on our format real quickly here. I'm going to ask a leading question. Adam will do the bulk of the interview. Your point of contact on here. Of course, I am Mac Paladin. Bulk of the show will be your interview, and then at the end we'll have about 15-25 minutes of entertainment news, which is kind of a roundtable discussion amongst them. You're ready? We'll get started.
Yeah, ready.
All right, so Carlos, tell us a little bit about Wicked Comics. What is it all about? What do you do?
Well, Wicked Comics, I started it a few years ago. Not so we're pretty new. Just started it as basically it's just it's a comic book publishing company, just like I would say along the lines of like Image Comics. Everything is original. All original characters. But where we basically do comic books. We also are going into making action figures too, and we also did a short movie based on Clown Man, which is one of our characters. So we're basically doing a little bit of everything.
Okay. Kind of like me. I have an animation studio. I do web comics. I'm a novelist and so on and so forth. So it's very relatable.
Very cool.
All right. Well, then let's not waste time. Let's get down to brass tacks here. Adam, let's get your list. Let's go.
Well, there are a variety of ways we can approach this, but I suppose my first question here is: do you personally create any of the comics, or are these from other people?
No, I basically everything you see on Wicked Comics, it's my creation. From the art to the stories. I basically do everything at the moment. The coloring, the drawing. So that's why it takes sometimes a little bit longer to release. Titles, because it's just making comics. It's very time consuming.
Fair enough. Especially since, from what I've been able to gather, you have a fairly sizable stable of characters or titles. You have things like Bloodstone, Justice, Dead Samurai, Kill Switch, Clown Man, and probably some others here I'm missing. Lycans.
We got a pretty big stable. What I'm basically doing now is, I'll release. I'm going back and I'm releasing like Clown Man 3, Kill Switch 3. So I'm releasing a title, on issue 1, and then going back to the other titles that already have, 1 and 2 issues to continue the series.
Okay. Now, is that for like select series, or are you trying to do that to your entire stable?
Basically for the entire stable. Just currently at the moment, since it's only me doing everything. Hopefully, if the company keeps on growing, I could hire, others to join to get everything out quicker.
Right. I mean, there's a few reasons to do that. Not just in terms of time considerations, but like I said, I'd imagine just managing this amount of titles just by your lonesome is pretty unwieldy, from my estimation. So,
Yeah, no, yeah, it really is because anything with art, and
Yeah.
I don't do it. The only thing I do digital is coloring and like some motion comics things I do digital, but the rest is just I ink it I draw by hand and ink it by hand. So still like the old ways.
like, was that a conscious choice, or is that what you were trained in?
No, it's just that I don't feel comfortable with the Wacom tablet. I've tried messing with it a little bit, and I don't know. It just doesn't feel. I guess I've been doing it for so many years. Just drawing digital. I feel more comfortable with it.
I mean, how long have you been creating art?
Well, I would say ever since I was little. Back. But like professionally, I would say about ever since I started Wicked Comics a few maybe 4 years ago. I'm on my own now, so just that's basically what I'm doing all the full time.
I see. So that is to say, this is your entire full-time gig, not a side job while you're working a real job kind of deal.
No, this is basically my full time job. Yeah, I gambled everything and just doing this full time.
It's always a bit of a risk, to say the least. No question about that.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Sometimes, even you've seen some companies that go under. You know, even I think like if you look back, I think even Marvel almost went under. If it wasn't for the movies, they would have went under.
Yeah. Um, they barely avoided bankruptcy back in the late '90s, or rather liquidation.
Right. I don't know if you guys know that company. I used to be in Florida. I'm in Florida. There was a company called CrossGen. I was a big fan of that company too. CrossGen. They did a lot of fantasy type things, and they went under. I forgot the reason, but they had a lot of known, pretty good artists, and they went under.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar, but I can't quite place them offhand. Like, what did they do?
They did a title called Sojourn, I believe. Which it was more kind of medieval. All their titles were kind of like geared toward like sword and sorcery type of things. That was the big one. Sojourn was a big one.
I said it's ringing a bell, but I can't quite place it.
Yeah, it's just that they were around in the 90s, and only for a couple of years, and then they disappeared.
Like, unfortunate.
Yeah, it was unfortunate.
I suppose it does beg the question: what has made you walk this path? Why have you decided to risk it all in pursuit of these comics?
I guess because I have so many stories to tell. So many things jump in my mind that I don't think I would be happy just working for a big company, just doing their ideas when I got so many ideas. So that's why I think I took a risk on it and trying to get it out there.
Well, I mean, hopefully it all works out.
No, yeah, thanks so much. I mean, we've done we've been pretty successful for the small time we've been out. We've had 3 successful Kickstarters for for 3 of the titles. Let me try to backtrack. I think one was for Kill Switch. The other one was Bloodstone, and another one was for Justice. And we just started, releasing these Kickstarters, and they've been going pretty decent.
And just to clarify things, your main focus is the comics, right? Less say IP, even though you seem to have branched off in a few other directions.
Yeah, no, the main thing is the comics. But yeah, like we said, trying to branch off just in, just like for the Kickstarters, like I'll make an action figure, say for Bloodstone, and I'll offer it as a reward. So that's and also like I've also done trading cards based on the characters. So
Right.
so just trying to just kind of branch out.
Yeah, I think we've had someone else who did trading cards or something like that for a Kickstarter, but I think you might be the first person we've had on the program who's done like action figures for their backers.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. A friend of mine, uh, actually on Facebook, he kind of guided me through it. He helped me, um, and he kind of explained kind of the process of how to doing it, and then on my own, I just kind of just by trial and error, mixing different plastic. It gets pretty complicated because you have to make molds of each body, each part. Then you got to inject the mold with plastics, and then you got to paint it. So it's a whole process.
I'd imagine. Like, and in terms of like, is it just an action figure of a particular character, or is it like a whole set?
No, yeah, now it's like some specific characters, but then also what I'm doing now is we're about to launch a comic book called Lycans, which is it's a werewolf comic, so it's a whole line of action figures based on the werewolves, and also we got a line of action figures from a title called Dragon Masters, which is like a He-Man mixed with Star Wars type of title, and I did all the I have everything ready to get molded too. So I mean, we got a lot of action figures coming soon for the different Kickstarters.
Like I said, it's intriguing, um, and
And I know 3D printing is pretty big now. I haven't really messed with 3D like a 3D printer, but ideally, I would think like a 3D printer would be easier, especially something that could just like scan your sculpt. and then
Yeah.
it just make it for you instead of like the injecting plastic into the mold.
Yeah, I think this is what surprised me the most, that you're doing it the way like Hasbro does their action figures or what have you, instead of 3D printing them.
Yeah, it's just I don't have a lot of space in my studio to be putting a lot of machines. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That would be something like, yeah, if we kept on growing, definitely. Because I even see like how Mattel does it. You know, they have like a huge tank, and then they just 3D print everything. It's way easier.
like, and now when you say action figures, are these like actual action figures, or are they statues?
No, you could actually they have articulation, so you could like it's not. I've gone into the. I did a kill switch figure that had like over 10 points of articulation. It was like the head would move, the top body, the arms, the wrist, the hand. So pretty much everything was pretty much articulated. But it takes a little bit more while. It takes a longer time to make. The more articulation, the more time it takes. Especially
Right.
how how I'm doing it.
And what's the size on these action figures?
I'm staying with 6 inches. Nothing bigger than 6 inches, because it's just
Okay.
it gets to the space too. I can't
Yeah.
have like a bunch of these huge molds everywhere.
Indeed. Okay. Anyway, so shifting focus a bit, you also mentioned that you did a short movie for one of your characters in Clownman. Was that for something? Was that for a Kickstarter?
No, actually, that was just something just to give back to the fans. It was just a short little a movie that it showed a little bit about the character, the origin of it, and it got into the story. Nothing directly related to exactly to the point of the comic, but it was something just to give back to the fans, and they seemed to enjoy it.
Uh, that's good. How long was it?
I believe the movie it was over an hour. I think it was like an hour and
Huh.
something. So I mean, for the budget, I mean, the budget was very low for that. It wasn't nothing crazy.
Still, longer than I was expecting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you would think it would be like a short movie, like a 10-15 minute, but yeah, it ended up like over an hour.
Hmm. Well, I mean, as long as your fan base liked it, I suppose that's what's the important thing here.
Yeah, it was you can't really expect too much. It was nothing. You could the effects and everything. I did pretty much all the editing and everything for it, so it's. I mean, for what it was decent.
I'm like, anyway, so would you consider the likes of Bloodstone, Kill Switch, and Clownman to be your top titles?
Um, yeah, I would say those three. Yeah, they're pretty popular. I always get every once in a while somebody to send in some fan art. We got a pretty big fan art section on the website of everybody that sends something in. We'll put their pieces up. Those three are always the top three. I would say.
And having read through, I think you sent me an issue of Kill Switch and Clownman. I
Well,
can
yeah,
definitely see. I can definitely see the early image thing you were going for, because these things definitely reminded me of like early issues of, say, Youngblood or the Savage Dragon, what have you.
yeah, for
Like,
sure. Yeah, definitely Kill Switch. I some of my influences. Yeah, definitely the Image guys. McFarlane, Lee Fields, and Jim Lee. I would say those three guys are as far as the art wise, those are the guys I look to. I always like their energy with their artwork and their styles.
Right. And I suppose we should delve a little more into some of these characters, since we haven't really talked about them yet. Like, for example, Clownman. So this is an intriguing bench, as you've got a actual clown from a circus as, like, is he an anti-hero or a vigilante? Like, he seems to be one of those bad people who fights even worse people deals.
Yeah, I would say you pretty much nailed it on the head. He's I would say he's both, yeah, anti-hero, vigilante, So he's not really like I would say like a Superman or a Spider-Man that's like does everything, to save the day kind of thing, he's more a darker type character. Almost
And
almost like the Joker reversed into a Batman role kind of thing,
yeah, like that's the thing that struck me as most. I'm not sure if it'll have to do 90-ish about a lot of your titles here. That kind of gritty anti-hero really permeated comics during the 90s. Like, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I know some like we look back at some of the '90s art. We were like, I guess we could criticize it, like the gigantic pockets and things, but I don't know. I kind of like the energy of the '90s comics. I think maybe it's something that's lacking nowadays. I feel like the comics nowadays everything looks the same. It looks like a movie, and it's like if I want to see a movie, I'll go see a movie. I kind of like to see artwork that's different, stylized or
I mean,
has that energy to it.
can't really speak to the big two since honestly I don't think anyone here is a big like mainstream comics reader. I mean, typically when our show covers comics, it's guys like you, people who work the indie scene.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, and I haven't picked up the big company comics. I would say since the late '90s, when I stopped collecting. Actually, everything that I see now is I mostly stick to the indie scene, which I feel like it's more. That's where you get more original ideas. At this time nothing's really original, but at least the indie scene they try to come up with like things that are kind of different.
Yeah, we've certainly encountered our fair share of interesting indie titles. And like I said, yours ranks among that. Like going back to Clown Man here. I know this is gonna maybe sound like sarcasm, but I am being completely earnest here. It's actually a fairly bold choice to have a monster clown as your protagonist. Like,
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's something so out of the ordinary, you know. But I was always a fan of the Crow. I always liked the James O'Barr comic, The Crow. So it was like an inspiration from The Crow, but also from Joker, the Batman, those dark type title. So that's how I kind of came up with that character.
fair enough. And I guess switching a bit to like Kill Switch here. He's a character who feels much more Liefeldian. Like, he's definitely someone who would not be out of place out of Youngblood or something like that.
Yeah, Kill Switch. He's the thing is, we only got two issues, but the idea for the characters, he's going to go back into certain older wars, so that you're going to see Kill Switch in World War II, maybe in Vietnam, some origin things like that, but and also in the future, because it's a Kill Switch program that made this ultimate assassin, so he goes on these missions. But yeah, in the future, I had the idea that he might be going back to, say World War II against some Nazis or something.
I'm like, that's as classic as you can get with comic books.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be. And I always, sometimes the fans even, they'll message me and say, oh, maybe try doing something like that. I always listen to the fans of what they like, and I try to incorporate it into the comics.
Well, that's good. Like, what are some of the suggestions that they've given you over the course of this brand experiment?
I would say sometimes even just from the fan art, they'll change something on the character. Change maybe a character design that then I end up using on the character. So I would say that's pretty big. Even just the fan art always helps.
Okay. Is that something you have to explain in universe?
No, just like just say they change a little bit something on the character's design, then just in the next issue I change up the character a little bit. That's about it. So I don't really I won't really explain it unless it's something really really major.
Gotcha. Anyway, another thing I want to ask, and this is a left turn from all the grim and brooding anti-heroes of your stable, and that is, you seem to also do children books, because I see an entry for The Sea Princess and the Forgotten Grief.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we tried. I had the idea, and I also did an animation called Agent Duck. It's almost it's a duck that's almost like a James Bond type of character. So we also have we're also trying also to go into more kids orientated material. But yeah, the Sea Princess is like it was very got I always liked the Little Mermaid, Disney. So that's not that's something also that I was trying to incorporate too into the company.
Is this book new, or was this something that was put out a while ago?
That one came out a few months ago, so not too long. It's fairly new. I have that on Amazon. That one I have on Amazon.
Like, and I suppose circling back to the comics, do you put your comic books out digital only, or do you put out physical prints as well?
Oh, both. I have them. Well, for the Kickstarters, I always offer them as both digital and a physical copy. And then I have them also on Amazon. Also, you could get it as a digital and a physical. And sometimes I'll print out, just to have here at my studio. And then if somebody orders, then I actually ship them out to anybody that buys them.
Okay. And in terms of Kickstarters, do you have anything that was recently completed, and are you looking forward to any Kickstarters that may be coming up in the near future?
Yes, yeah. The latest one we did was it was for Bloodstone issue 2, and that one we got funded. So it was I offered issue 1, issue 2 as prizes, digital, also physical copies, and also I had a Bloodstone action figure too, and trading cards. but that was the latest one for Bloodstone. And upcoming, we got that title called Lycans, which is the werewolf comic, which is just if you I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's basically takes place in Transylvania. There's these four vampire hunters are on a mission to get rid of Dracula because he's been harassing Transylvania for so long. But then something happens, and then this curse of Lycans is released upon Transylvania. So you got these werewolves running wild. But it's almost gonna be. I have the idea, kind of like it might be going in from the future to the past, so almost like an underworld maybe type of thing. I'm not sure where that's gonna go, but that's basically the premise for that.
I'm like, it's an interesting choice to do something in Transylvania that isn't wholly about, Dracula, vampires. I mean, obviously they're still there, but the focus is on werewolf.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I wanted to incorporate something with Dracula in it. So that's why I had that tie-in there, that they're going after Dracula to try to kill him, but then something happens and that this curse of Lycans is released into Transylvania that haunts the city for like forever.
It'd be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, because I was a fan of I looked at the Dracula movie with what's his name? I think Keanu Reeves was in it. I don't know if you know the one what I'm talking about.
Bram Stoker's Dracula?
Yeah, that one I liked it. I liked that movie, so I kind of got inspired a little bit from that, and definitely Underworld. I always liked the whole werewolf stuff.
Yeah, that's what this was reminding me of.
Yeah,
Right
yeah,
there.
definitely, yeah, and then that issue is tying into another issue called Bullet, which is he's a he's almost like a Blade type of character, but he's a werewolf hunter. So that the Lycans is going to tie into that title.
Okay. I suppose that does bring up another salient question about your entire operation here. Is this, are all the titles working in their, overall universe, or are they like, individualized a bit more? Like how Marvel comics works in one universe and
Right. I would say, I mean, some do connect, like I said, the Lycans and Bullet, it has some sort of connection there. But I think for the majority, everything is its own. You know, I mean, I did have an idea. Maybe they could connect to have some like a team, maybe in the future. I'm not sure where that'll go.
I mean,
I don't know.
There's several ways that can be, gone with that that kind of direction. Multiple paths there. But I personally, I'd say overall, it's probably a good thing that the individual titles are individual, because just given the diversity of location and people on display here, um, it's less cause of concern when they do cross over. Like, speaking personally again, that's something I've always had a problem with, say, Batman or the X-Men versus the larger DC or Marvel universe. You don't quite fit in to what you're doing here versus overall.
Right, right. No, I agree with you 100%. I think it's better, especially as indie guys, to keep each title as their own, own thing, and then it's going to be easier if they do cross paths. How you do it?
Anyway, so we're getting low on time here, so just a couple more questions from me, at least. Those are, So do you have any other titles that you're conceptualizing at this point?
Yeah, well, I'm basically working on the two titles at the same time: the Lycans and then Dragon Masters 2, which I told you a little bit about, which is that's our big fantasy comic. And then after that, I'm gonna be doing Clown Man 3 and Kill Switch 3. And Clown Man 3 is gonna be you're gonna get two new villains called Jinxie and Guns. They're basically bank robbers, and Guns is a rabbit, almost like Roger Rabbit, but a darker version, you know. And then Kill Switch 3 is called Dead Zone. He goes into a mission on this prison on Mars. So that's basically the issue 3.
Okay.
But yeah, I already have it all ready to go. Just gotta start drawing it.
Gotcha. And I guess finally from me, do you have any other non-comic products that aren't attached to a Kickstarter in the works?
Currently, no, I don't have any project that's not comic book related. You know, definitely. I'm always gonna try to release a few Kickstarters a year. You know, maybe 2 to 3.
Well, good luck to you.
No, thanks so much.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Now I will see if my colleagues here have anything further for you.
I'm good.
Nope. I was
Yeah,
just
I think I'm
listening
good.
intently.
Okay.
All right, Carlos. Before you go, any appearances or special things you want to promote before you end the interview?
No, I would just say just the website www.wicked-comics.com. That's basically our big website. We always updating things there, and no, just give a big thanks to the Wicked fans out there, you guys for having me on, and just always supporting the company and all the new titles, because I know it's a tough industry to get into. So thanks everybody for always their support.
Okay. All right, Carlos. It was lovely having you on the show, and we look forward to seeing what your latest projects end up becoming.
Great.
Thanks again.
Thank you again. Yeah, it was very nice to meet you guys, and thanks a lot.
No problem.
Have a good night, guys.
We will.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Thanks
good
so
night.
much.
Bye.
Never.
All right. Up next is the entertainment news, and no time like the present. So, Adam, what should we start with this week?
All right. It's time to make the panel here feel very old, or perhaps older than they are.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay. Because Skibbity Toilets is getting a feature length movie.
Oh dear.
Like, I'm like,
The Gen
I
Alpha
guess,
sensation.
isn't it Sigma?
Who cares?
Why would it be Sigma? Sigma's in the middle of the damn alphabet.
Yeah,
I don't know,
I guess, in my opinion, that would make it mid. Sorry.
I know. Apparently, that's the Greek letter associated with this thing. Like,
What is the joke everybody keeps saying? Riz, Skibbity Toilet, Ohio Riz, or whatever. I don't know.
Yes.
The fuck is the meme going on right now?
I mean, yes, technically this, but this may also spell the end of Skibbity Toilet's memehood, because the adults are getting in on the joke, and that's usually the point when it stops being funny to the core demographic. Like,
I suppose that's a theory.
The damn boomers ruining everything. I don't know.
I mean, it can.
My understanding is that there's actually kind of an interesting story in there, I guess, but I have not even been able to try to approach it. So
I'm just impressed that something from Gary's mod carries this much cultural weight, given the age of that game.
Oh my god! And I'm just sitting here, So says the quote unquote young Gen Xer who's been branded past it by every subsequent generation.
Indeed.
Me and Joe Biden in retirement.
But yeah, I suppose what's especially notable about the Skibbity Toilet movie is the names attached to it.
Oh dear.
Guess who? I guess he's directing, but apparently Michael Bay.
Jesus
his name is attached. I'm not sure if this is in a director role or a producer role. But apparently he and former Paramount Pictures president Adam Goodman are in talks to bring the Skibbity Toilet to the cinema screens. Yeah, I will note this is far from the first time a meme has been brought to other media. In fact, we just got last year the Five Nights at Freddy movie. And I know that's a game series, but really Five Nights at Freddy is more meme than game at this point.
This whole Skibbity Toilet thing has really passed me by, and I'm like, am I gonna have to now go look this up?
I'm like,
do I have to go down this rabbit hole now?
Maybe.
Is this the next Charlie the Unicorn?
I mean, it could be the next.
Oh, Lord.
It could be the next Fred.
Oh Christ!
Oh God!
Didn't Fred get racked with scandal? Didn't Fred drop off the earth because of scandal?
No, he dropped off the earth because he sold his persona to Nickelodeon and got into a disagreement with them about the direction of his character or something like that.
Oh, surprise!
Surprise! Surprise! Surprise!
And this isn't the dumbest meme to bring to other media. That's still the Annoying Orange television series.
Honestly, I'm not too worried about it yet. I'm saving my or trying to build up my patience for knowing what the young ones are into these days for after my sister's kid starts getting old enough to interact with things in a human. So I figure the human way. So I figure I got about 3 years to try to build up to that.
Believe me, I know the feeling.
It's like the greatest hits of the bottom of the barrel of the internet.
Yeah. I know the feeling because of my oldest nephew who kept bugging me to put Arcano onto television screen when their phones weren't working. Or Arcado, however you fucking pronounce it.
Next thing you know,
see, I don't know what that is and don't have to care, but whatever.
I literally showed you what it is once.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Maybe while we're at it, we can bring back Drury and his friends and Can I Microwave?
Maybe. Anyway, moving on. So this I'm going to pass over to Kevin because it's fucking sport ball shit. I'm like,
what exactly?
And the NBA rights situation because it involves.
It's actually more than just sports ball here, actually, because Warner Brothers Discovery is about to go through it. Because it was announced today that the National Basketball Association announced their new television rights contract for the next, I think it's 11, 12 years. Running through 2034, and the biggest news is that after 40 years, just about, of the NBA on either TBS or TNT, 40 years, the NBA has decided to move on from them and go to NBC, which they had rights with from 1990 until 2002, while also a new contract with and also a deal with Amazon, along with renewing their rights with ESPN, ABC/Disney. Now, the thing about this is that this came after Warner Brothers Discovery tried to match the Amazon package, not the ABC ESPN or the NBC package, but the Amazon Prime package. And
and they were doing it in the form of IOUs.
Because of the fact that no, we're not having a streaming/linear package match a fully streaming package. 1 and 2, Amazon offered us full payment for 3 years, and you gave us a credit card for 3 years. And also because we think Prime has more reach than TNT. The NBA told Warner Brothers Discovery to go screw. Well, Warner Brothers Discovery responded quickly with basically, see you in court. And this is about to get really ugly.
Oh, God.
This is about to probably be company destroying, because the NBA is a really, 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 really important thing for TNT, which has probably the most expensive per subscriber fee in the business, largely because of the NBA, and because the NBA is saying, we don't want you anymore. If they lose the NBA and they lose this legal battle, which is about to commence, and they have no NBA in 2025, the cable companies are going to want some money back, as in a pay cut in the per subscriber fee from about from what I remember, $3 or so per subscriber, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's very much a lot, to probably a cut of probably half that, because you don't have the NBA anymore. That's going to cause a big financial gaping hole inside of the company, and it's not just going to affect TNT, it's going to affect everybody else. So,
I mean, who has the rights to broadcast popular sports is a pretty big deal in the broadcast television community, since that's, one of the things that people still kind of use that for.
And just for the record, this all started and got instigated by a message sent by David Zaslav at a investor conference in 2022, essentially saying verbatim saying, we don't need the NBA.
Which is the fuck around part that they are now finding out.
Yes, because Adam Silver heard that and went, excuse moi? Sorry. And the funny thing about all of this, apparently, according to Andrew Marchand of the Athletic, which is connected to the New York Times, apparently it was Warner Brothers Discovery that told the NBA, hey, let's bring Amazon into our exclusive window. And then Amazon said, hey, pay you in full. We actually want the NBA. They obviously don't. And it's like, oh my goodness, they actually listen to that. They actually listen to us.
You completely cut out.
What did I cut out?
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Hold on a sec. Hold on, just a hold on.
Fine to me.
Hold on a second. Yeah, my connection's it's wonky, so. But yeah, this all dates back to Zaslav opening his mouth and having stuff come out of it, Adam Silver getting pissed about it, and then a new partner that Warner Brothers Discovery just happened to introduce into the equation, saying to the NBA, look, they said they don't want you. We do. Here's the money. And then NBC came around and said, "Oh, we really want the NBA back badly." And then ESPN over there said, "Yeah, we still want to be with you guys. We still love y'all. We're still with y'all." And that left Warner Brothers Discovery going, "Oh shit, that's totally joking. We're saying things to help please our cost-cutting, wanting shareholders. You get that, right? Now, we got matching rights in our contract. Why don't we match the Amazon Prime deal so that way we could replace Amazon with our streaming service? It's a win." Oh, you won't listen? Oh, right. So now the fun is about to begin because this is obviously heading to court because they want to at least fight to the end here. And it's really a case of, do they go all the way and open the door to what should be a very interesting phase of Discovery, which does not mean the crappy part of Warner Bros. Discovery, but means something entirely different? Or did they settle and get some sort of package or at least financial money? Or you know, it's going to be fun to see what happens because yeah, losing the NBA is going to be a big, gigantic black hole for Warner Brothers Discovery that will affect the entire company with time. It's going to be really fun to watch.
All right, you good?
And I'm done. I'm done, yes. When I stop talking, I'm done.
Just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, we're done.
So moving over to Netflix and Apple TV.
Why?
Netflix. Well, Netflix has extended its lead over the streaming universe as they now reach 277.7 million subscribers, and they reach a potential 600 million people across the globe. So quarterly profit is up 44% for the previous year. Basically, Netflix is still the all-dominating force in streaming overall. And how that relates to Apple TV is, well, they're the latest streamer who's cutting back. Following the steps of, well, basically all the rest. And I guess that does include Netflix, since they they started cutting back on their stuff a few years ago, but Apple Plus is apparently they have spent $20 billion to produce original TV shows and movies, which I think only a handful people know and watch. And yes, Apple is a $1 trillion company. Here's the thing: even $1 trillion companies, they don't think of money. How do I put this? In terms of, just let it flow forever. Who cares? That's just not a thing that happens.
I think Apple's actually worth somewhere between 8 and
2 trillion, I think.
Microsoft is actually evaluated much higher.
Yeah, the point is that they are literally one of the richest companies in the world. But they're still beholden to investors, and they still manage for growth and things like that. and Apple's gotten to the point where they're not, they are feeling like they're not getting their return on investment, so they're pulling back the money spigot. It's a story we've been seeing time and again in the streaming universe.
Right.
It's just the damage done here isn't as profound as it is at other companies. Because this is the kind of thing that has led Warner Brothers Discovery to their current position. Or it's why Paramount has to merge to survive, and so on and so forth. Like, because the streaming world is still producing significant losses. Like, I think it was also announced that Peacock, Universal has trimmed down their losses to $340 million. Like, this shit is a fucking money pit. Like,
the only company happy to be operating in that space is Netflix, who has been operating at a deficit in perpetuity because that's somehow their magic business model, and it's utterly.
Well, here's the thing: that's no longer the case. Like, Netflix is actually making a profit. Like, in the past couple of years, like, they're really the only ones who are making money off of this right now. Although I think Disney, at least according to their plans, like, they should be reaching profitability with Disney Plus, now. Like, they said 2024 was going to be the year that they start making money off of streaming.
Well, fully integrating Hulu and giving it that diversity has helped significantly, I think. Because, and this is the contention that I made, is that the reason that Netflix was successful in this space is because they were not a traditional studio, but a clearinghouse. And Hulu fit that same bill. And so now Disney is also getting access to basically everybody's content, not just their own, because of that acquisition, that complete acquisition of Hulu. And its business model was very similar to Netflix.
Yeah, like, I can still get Cartoon Network stuff off of Hulu.
Yep.
Which, you just flat out wouldn't really be seeing on Disney Plus. Not necessarily because of Warner Brothers. Some of their stuff has ended up on Netflix again. Like, the Powerpuff Girls is there. It's just because, Disney doesn't want competition on its own platforms if they can help it.
Right.
No.
Although there is some overlap, I'm noticing, because the Hulu stuff is now, inside the Magic Kingdom, so to speak.
Well, yeah, they integrated the Hulu app into the Disney Plus app.
But it's still a standalone thing as well.
True.
And I don't see that changing anytime soon, because Iger was like, well, kind of needed.
The question, I'd say the bigger question is, will they attempt to do a similar thing with ESPN Plus? Because that's still the app that's fully standalone. You cannot watch ESPN in Disney Plus as right now.
Right.
So, that being said, the money spigot at Apple is closing, because, well, once again, they're spending, they're spending $20 billion on something that just attracts apparently 0.2% of the TV viewing audience in the US. Like, their most popular thing Yeah, the Masters of the Air delivered a smaller U.S. audience than House of Ninjas, a Netflix show in Japanese. Like,
Huh.
Yeah, like they have very few things that are, say, Ted Lasso. You know, like Ted Lasso is like the only Apple Plus show I can think of that people genuinely talked about
And
on
it's
social
over.
media. Yes. There were probably a few others. But yeah, it's like, so I can't blame Apple to scale back, but on the other hand, how much advertising does Apple do?
I see
And
them
what?
on some social media platforms, but it's real thin.
Yeah, and it's also, I'm wondering, what does Apple see Apple TV as, or Apple Plus as? Because going to Amazon, they view Amazon Prime TV as basically an addition. Like, it's something you get on top of Amazon Prime. They don't.
It's a rather large bundle. I mean, I've got Prime Gaming, which
Right.
integrates Amazon Prime. I get tons of free games, access to their what is their game controller thingy, the Luna?
Luna.
So you get access to the Luna games, which are basically PC and console games that you can play optionally with their branded controller or not. And this is stuff you would ordinarily pay, $50-$60 for, and you can get free access to it just by having your monthly subscription. So you get a lot of value. You get a lot of value, and then of course you get your Prime subs on Twitch and all that stuff. So it's a pretty exceptional value. I mean, ordinarily I'd be like, ooh, $16 a month, my God. But you get a lot of value there. And I think that's what the other platforms are starting to maneuver towards. Like I said, that whole clearinghouse concept. Amazon as a retailer has been a clearinghouse for a long, long time. So the fact that they have managed to carve out their own little section of this market and been successful at it is not surprising.
Right.
They were to books what Netflix was to DVDs back in the day. So their evolution is it makes sense.
Yeah. And it is a weird dichotomy because, maybe not necessarily Amazon, but, at least from like the Amazon Prime user base, this kind of thing is seen as an afterthought. Once again, it's a secondary thing to the people buy Amazon Prime for, and that is the expedited shipping. Like,
right.
But Amazon does see this seriously enough where they bought MGM for it.
Right. And they are also, in my opinion, successfully one of the few services that is successfully everything to everybody.
Right.
They're a store, they're a streaming service, they have the gaming platform, the whole nine.
Yeah. And similarly, Netflix tries to be the everything to everybody in the streaming world.
Right.
Whereas like Apple TV, they seem to be like all prestige television all the time, which I guess is good from a quality standpoint. But yeah, it's like, you're not going to get a lot of numbers out of that, generally speaking. I mean, yes, there's been prestige TV that has broken through to the mainstream, from The Sopranos to Breaking Bad, what have you. But that's not all the time. Like, as
Apple's
much, like Apple TV's lacking a lot of the, for lack of a better term, lowest common denominator stuff. Yeah.
Apple's wheelhouse has, as far as like popular media,
Mhm.
one of their big moments of pride was, of course, basically shuttering Sony as the big music distributor. That's really their wheelhouse because of iTunes and stuff like that.
Right.
That was the market space they dominate. So it seems like I think they're still to a certain degree heavily focused on that, like because all of their mobile devices are really built around people recording their own media, making podcasts, and listening to music. That is still their partnerships with Spotify and iTunes effectively changing into Apple Music and all of that stuff. I think that's why they're kind of floundering in this streaming video space, is because it's still somewhat foreign. They built their entire identity around capturing the whole iPod generation.
It's also
they haven't.
It's just not that high of a priority for them.
Like they're still making money hand over fist over all this digital audio stuff.
Right.
So it's not weird to me that Apple TV is kind of an afterthought.
Yeah. Like it's not the most quixotic initiative going on right now, because they're making one of their occasional forays to push gaming on Apple devices.
I mean, they're pretty decent for mobile gaming. Like if you do a Google search for, mobile gaming, the iPhone comes up as one of the first devices that they recommend.
Well, they've got the Apple Arcade, which is a good enough thing. I'm thinking more about they're pushing to get full-on AAA titles, like today's AAA titles onto iDevices. Like you can play Resident Evil 8: The Village on your iPhone, or Assassin's Creed Mirage, and there's a few others in that pool. The thing is, the iPhone still not a terribly good gaming device.
I don't know. I mean, my iPhone 8 Plus still does a pretty damn bang up job of playing Call of Duty mobile. They've always had a very healthy relationship with Tencent and Activision. So,
Call of Duty mobile is specifically a mobile game. I'm talking about something.
But I mean, it stands up against Warzone very easily. So.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking a full-on AAA $70 single-player experiencing and putting it on the iPhone. Like, it doesn't work out as well as Apple had perhaps hoped, because there's still, it's still a pretty significant downgrade from the console versions. And also, here's the biggest thing. Heating is the big limiting factor here, because iPhones don't have a dedicated heat sink.
They dissipate heat directly through the case. I would know because I'm now on my 6th Apple device.
Yeah.
I have an iPhone XR now.
And yeah, that's kind of why this level of AAA gaming isn't exactly conducive on iPhones, because they generate a lot of heat. Right. So anyway, I think that'll about do it for this this entertainment news segment thing.
Oh yeah. All right. So what it looks like is, if all things go well, next week we're supposed to have Charlie McElvey of comic book creator American Yakuza series. Part 2 is getting a Kickstarter campaign. So continuing the hit parade on comic book Invaders. We'll
Yeah.
be delving into that next week. Is there any additional information you have to share on that?
Follow along for the second chapter in our wild murder mystery ride in Japan. I invested in an international conglomerate and went from an MMA champion to becoming the first ever American Yakuza. So there's the elevator pitch.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully, glitches going into next week. I'm gonna knock on proverbial wood there. Maybe I can avoid natural disasters for once.
Oh.
But you know, casting the evil eye aside, we'll look forward to that. Again, special thanks to our new friend Carlos Faras of Wicked Comics. Be sure to check him out at wicked-comics.com for all of the latest news and information on that. We'll see you all next week. But until then, I am your host, Mac Hollidan, and on behalf of Moonhawk Studios, thanks for watching. Stay safe.